Hello there everyone, I'm Darth Vader Movie Reviews, how are you doing? We're reviewing Shrek the Third today, so without further ado, let's review. Shrek the Third starts off very promising with a look into Charming's life after the events of the second movie. He's now performing plays in the villain pub and is still treated as a joke. We then see him annoyed with how no one is taking the play seriously, and that everyone watching doesn't care that he was rid of his chance to become king. He then storms outside to the alley and vows revenge on Shrek. Now, this premise is very good, but in Shrek 2, Charming isn't taken seriously at all. He's the centre of most jokes and is a punching bag, which works in Shrek 2 because he's not the main villain. Fairy Godmother is. And that's where this movie falls apart like a Nature Valley bar. He's still the punching bag, and it just doesn't work. He's supposed to be intimidating somewhat. I don't know about you, but when first watching Shrek 2, Fairy Godmother stole every scene she was in, and she was downright scary at times. What should have happened is that after that alley scene where he vows revenge on Shrek, he should have ceased to be in the joke, and he should have been intimidating, because he's not that fun to watch throughout the movie, because it just doesn't work. He doesn't steal the show or anything, it just doesn't work. He's the main villain, you're meant to fear him. You can no longer laugh at him in Shrek 2 because you're meant to think he's intimidating and is this big threat. And coming off from Shrek 2, it's just a major downgrade. Like moving on from Keaton and going to Kilmer. Anyway, Shrek's life sucks, he hates it, should have never married Fiona, but then again, the only other option was a dragon. So Shrek's annoyed about the pampered and perfect life of being replacement king while King Harold is sick, and he yearns to go back to the swamp. He doesn't want to be king when King Harold dies, so he goes to find the next heir, which is Arthur. Now, when King Harold does die, this funeral could have been really emotional, but they have Live and Let Die playing for some reason. I mean, come on, I expected the late great Sir Roger Moore to come up on stage and make his speech about his condolences. I mean, I know I'm not supposed to take it seriously, because God knows the filmmakers aren't when the frogs are singing. So then he... he croaks. We got him R2. So King Harold's funeral just got dumped on by the tallest tower, and he definitely deserved more, being one of my favourite characters in Shrek 2. And then the gang goes to find whiny Arthur. Now, if I wrote this movie, Arthur wouldn't exist at all. Poof. With him in the movie, it just brings the movie down because he's whiny and annoying, and he's just irritating. And I get he's there for the sole purpose of Shrek's growth as a character, but it just doesn't work. He's literally charming if he wasn't funny and over the top, so you're left with boring and whiny. What I would have done is have Harold die and Shrek have to accept his role as king. Then, because he's inexperienced, it allows for Charming to easily take control of the castle. Then it could have been a really entertaining and fun film with Shrek and the gang trying to take back the castle. I know that sort of happens within the movie, but the whole quest of trying to find Arthur is just so boring. There could have maybe been an emotional scene with Fiona while maybe giving birth amidst the battle, when Shrek and the other princesses would have to protect the castle, and it could have been really tense and emotional. But they didn't, so... Where Shrek 2 had fun sequences, this movie doesn't. It's all just so forgettable and nothing really stands out. The only sequence I kind of liked was when they go to the school, because it was the most funny, and speaking of funny moments, this movie doesn't actually have a lot of them. And you start to notice that the filmmakers knew that this movie wasn't funny, because they felt the need to throw in switching body shenanigans. So they go through the portal to get to the castle and try to rescue the princesses. Shrek then gets captured. And I actually can't remember how that happens because it's all such a forgettable sequence. The princesses then save themselves as Queen Lillian uses her head. I don't know about you, but that tastes like comedy gold. So they escape and then they storm the castle, which could have been a really fun sequence, but the scene happens so fast and it leaves no impact. When you go from a giant gingerbread to princesses singing, it's just so underwhelming. Our boy Shrek gets saved, Charming makes a fool of himself, and the movie is over, thank the maker. You start to realise how boring this movie is when you sit down and compare them with the other movies. There are no fun sequences, there are hardly any memorable sequences, and the villain's just boring. Arthur is as whiny as someone who just found out that TikTok got banned, and yes, this script was written in before Walmart bought TikTok, so another year or two of that app. So no, TikTok's here to stay, isn't it? Yep. And the plot is just so boring, and the annoying thing is it could have been interesting if they took a whole different route. I really think they could have made this like a huge scale battle between Charming and Shrek and the gang as they try to take back the castle. That could have been a whole 30-minute sequence in itself, and I think that could have been really cool to see, maybe, because as it is in the movie, it just happens so fast and quick. It doesn't leave anything in your mind. It's just over so quickly. Anyway, Shrek the Third is my least favourite Shrek movie. It's not terrible, it's not good, it's just, in this franchise of good quality movies, it's just meh, and it leaves no impact on anything. So it's really, it's dispensable, really. This review is done, so I will see you all later, hopefully. I've been Darth Movie Reviews. I will see you later, and goodbye.